says, and I'll make every effort to see to it that when I'm gone, you're going to remember this. I'm going to do everything I can. Think just a moment about what Peter was talking about, what he might have been talking about. The thing I wanted to share with all of you tonight, and I don't know how much of this has to do with any more with arts than with any talent or gift or what you bring to the party. Everybody that comes to the church, every part of the body brings something. Now, because we are human beings and sometimes dumb, we often think, well, what I'm bringing isn't as important as what someone else brings. And sometimes because we're dumb and arrogant, we think what I'm bringing is more important than what somebody else is bringing. But the truth is, everybody is bringing something. And in our lives, we very often miss all the things that God has done to take care of us, to bring us to a place where we can contribute, where we can help, where we're necessary. It's like some superhero movie where the superhero doesn't know he's a superhero until he finds that he or she is standing in the very place where someone needs to do something and they're the only one that can do it. That is the way the body is built. And so often one of the hardest things in the church for people to realize and for us to encourage and reinforce with one another is how important we all are, and how many times throughout your life, whether you know it or not, God has proven it. He's done something to put you in just the right place at the right time, whether it was to be helped or to help someone that eventually gets you to a place where you can either help or be helped by someone. This is the way that God works. And here Peter, 2,000 years ago, after he says, he goes through this one of the best monologues in the Bible to me. He talks about how God's divine nature has given us everything we need. Now here is someone that at one time in his life, if he could have just caught more fish, that's what he wanted. And Jesus came along and he thought, well, here, and of course, the funny thing to me is the only time that they ever caught fish was when Jesus was with them. You know, I don't know what they did on the other times and called themselves fishermen, but at any rate, now, years later, and he's an old man, and it's been suggested that, like I said, this is one of the last things he'd ever write, one of the last things he would ever say is here in 2 Peter. And that soon after, he went to Rome and was crucified upside down. But here he's saying, God gives us everything we need. His divine nature has given us everything we need for life and godliness, and because of that, you need to make every effort. Now, this is a phrase that's very interesting. I think they got it from Jesus because James would use it, Paul would use it. It's a phrase that you'll see different people who had been with Jesus use. Make every effort. No one uses it more than Peter. Make every effort. Make every effort. He says, because of all that God has given us, you need to make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control, and to self-control perseverance, and to perseverance godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness love. For if you possess these qualities, we just read it, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't think it's just a poetic, arbitrary ordering of things. Peter starts with faith, but when he says you got to add to your faith good, each one of these things, you see, by itself, it can be lacking. You can have a lot of faith, but there's other things that you need. We need some knowledge, but you can get arrogant with knowledge. You need to be good. And, who is good, all the time? You need to be brotherly kind. Each of these things builds up to make us somebody that we're not lacking if we remember this. If we remember these things, we're not lacking, and in our lifetimes, we'll be fruitful. We won't be unproductive. Peter says, my time is short. It's good for me to remind you of these things. And I'm going to do all that I can. I'm going to make every effort to see to it that when I'm gone, you're going to remember this.